Hey everybody, welcome back to the EQN Sports Desk, driven by Holiday Auto Group. I am Drew Stew with continuing coverage of the NRCHA Stallion Stakes out in Las Vegas. All of this action, of course, presented by our friends at Ranch Fuel. Hey, this is kind of a different deal, and for those of you that are out there that are interested in this horse market and the things that are going on, if you are new to the industry or if you're an old dog in this industry but kind of want to learn more about this horse, the horse side of it, the breeding side of it, we have got a special guest right here that is right in the middle of all of it, and I like to say that one of their main locations is up there in Purcell, Oklahoma. So Tanner Isaacs is with us right here. Tanner, thanks for coming out. You work with GeneTech, and today we're going to be talking about the science of horse reproduction. How's
awesome.
that?
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, Drew.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, pal. So you and I have been sitting here talking off camera for about the last 5 minutes about this, and right now in the industry, everybody that we've had come up here has been talking about the front side of the industry, meaning we're talking about these great incentives that we have with, like the Stallion incentive there where you're at, the countless other incentives at any of the futurities or any of the other aged events that are going on. These breeding incentives are what kind of drive a lot of these pots, if not all of the major pots. And it doesn't matter if you're in the cutting, reined cow horse, team roping, reining. The big pots, these incentive programs are what is driving that. So that's what I'm going to call the front side of the industry. We're having these stallions, we're having these mares, but you guys represent the back end of the industry and actually making these things happen. And the word, I'm at a loss right now on my grammar, but ICSI is thrown around a whole bunch right now in the industry, where a few years ago we never even heard of it. We didn't even know what it was, and now it's something we're hearing about all the time. We're all the time talking about, will horses freeze? We're talking about not only shipping semen but embryos, and then we're talking about recip mares, and there's this whole other side of the industry is where I'm getting at. And that, my friend, lands smack dab on what you and GeneTech do. Did I butcher that real bad?
No, you did excellent. I think it's great because it's a huge collaboration. These incentive programs are setting up breeders to be successful. They're making the great events, and that all goes back to the next generation, the next round of embryos being made, the next round of athletes. And so it's really cool to work with those programs. Breeding is the foundation of everything, and at GeneTech, they are an extremely progressive, futuristic facility that wants to keep those things happening for the next generations.
Sure. So we were talking about it. You guys are the science. There's a lot of these great stallion stations and mare stations and all of this all over the country, and we won't get into that list of names, but everybody knows them. I mean, everybody knows them. And you guys are kind of the science behind it. You're the guys that go in and make these things happen. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys do and how it works for those of us that may not have any idea what ICSI is. I mean, of course we know what it means to freeze semen and all of that, but take us now to what this has evolved into in 2026 and how it has kind of changed the game over the last decade.
Definitely. So GeneTech is an advanced reproductive facility. So we specialize in services on the mare side as well as the stallion side. Not limited to just ICSI. We do, but ICSI is kind of the foundation. That's where you take the oocyte, or a lot of people will call it the egg, out of the mare, harvest those, bring them into the lab. We use advanced technology to pick out a sperm cell, inject that into the embryo, and create an embryo there, and from that grow it out to 7 days, 8 days embryo, and then we can freeze those and transfer those. So that's just kind of the basic start of ICSI, but from there's endless possibilities. We work on the stallion side, we work with ST Genetics on the sex semen technology, which is a cool new technology bringing out into the industry, being able to kind of define or pick out the gender before the embryo even happens.
You're kidding. You're kidding me. Like I want to have a mare, or I want to have a stallion.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. So it's the same, type of technology they use in the dairy industry. Heifers are always better there, but we can sort those sex semen or those sperm cells by their DNA and say these are male, these are females, and we can bring that to the stallion owner, and now they can say, hey, I have sex semen available for my stallion. You can get it this way. Or, as a mare owner, you can, if you talk to the stallion owner, you can set it up and if you utilize a sex semen dose. If there's that's a really cool new technology that's out there that we're hearing a lot of people really excited about.
How new is it? I've never even heard about it. I mean,
well, it's been around for a very long time in the cattle industry.
Okay.
Especially for that. It takes a lot. We collaborate with ICSI because you're taking a large number of sperm cells and you're going to fraction that down. As you're sorting through those sperm cells, you're only going to end up with a lot smaller amount. So then by taking ICSI, you go and you analyze all those sperm cells, you pick the best candidate, increase your odds there of having a successful procedure.
Gotcha. So that's where the finances or the money that comes into this is because of that time that it takes, because you guys are actually sorting when it comes to flushing. Is it about the same when you're flushing eggs from these mares? Just are you going through and kind of like a pre-screening process almost on both the mare side and the stallion side to put everything together? Is that kind of what goes on?
There's definitely criteria, but the benefit of ICSI in aspirating your mare is the time it takes, right? Okay. So as a mare is in her estrus cycle, she's going to be growing follicles, and they'll be growing and they actually regress and they end up just becoming atretic and disappear. Okay. So when you aspirate a mare, you're going in and all those follicles you see on the ultrasound, we're actually going through and getting the oocyte out of each and every one of those. At that point, you can do it pretty much at the most optimal time in their cycle, but you can do it anytime throughout their cycle because they're generating the follicles throughout that.
Gotcha.
And then we're taking that. So it can be a very, very fast and convenient procedure. We see people coming in on their way to a team roping in and saying, hey, I would like to get this mare aspirated where she's at in her cycle. The vet you can have your own vet or stop by GeneTech and our vets will evaluate them, ultrasound scan, and see where they're at. Mm-hmm. Say, yep, these look like she's got a lot of follicles, should produce quite a few oocytes. Let's aspirate her and go from there. Or you can time her out, follow her cycle, and time it that way too. Really?
Wow. How hard is it on these mares? Not very hard on them at all?
It's really not hard at all. You see definitely different mares,
sure.
different handle the pain tolerance differently.
Sure.
But you see a lot of mares come in, they were in training the day before, they come in, they get aspirated, give them the day off, give them some Banamine, that kind of stuff, and then the next day they're going. I just had a visit with Brittany Posey, and we were talking about going and getting that mare aspirated and going and winning the rodeo the next day. It happens very differently. And big part of that is having the vet that's performing the aspiration,
sure.
having a good technique, how they handle them, how they're sedating, how they manage that pain management on the mare is really important.
Gotcha. So from your vantage point right now and what's going on in the industry all the way around, this is turning into big business for sure. We're all of the different stallion stations, the guys and gals are running the mares, being really, really strong on the mares. That's one thing that because of this technology, because of ICSI, we're seeing this mare power explode right now. We've always known it was there, but we're seeing it explode right now more and more and more. What are you guys seeing from your perspective in the industry on that side of it, looking back at us, looking back at, the shows like where you're sitting right now, these other big shows that are going on, all of the futurities from rope horse barrels, all of these things that are going on. What does the industry look like to you, and what do you think we're doing? How do you think we're shaping the industry right now, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head with the mare power. That is what you're seeing out there. You're seeing all of these great stallions combined with great mares, having great offspring, having multiple siblings, having multiple babies out of that mare compete against each other is really driving the industry and making it a really cool performance aspect. You see it all the way around. The reproduction side, that's where these advanced reproductive technologies are helping people progress faster.
Mm-hmm.
You can cross your mare not on just one stallion this year. You can do multiple embryos. Few embryo transfers. You can free some embryos. So you can do a lot that can really change your breeding program very fast. And that's where you're seeing great athletes coming out of this.
So even though people might say, well, there's the money upfront cost that goes into this, long term, you're looking at more horses faster on the ground, more colts and fillies on the ground faster. So really and truly, it's worth it because, like you said, you can get more of those horses out there. That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely. And the timing that it takes to set your mare up to do an aspiration in compared to setting up for embryo transfer flush, you're waiting for the next flush. You can rapidly grow that. And on the time, the money it takes too, if you have a problem mare that you're having problems getting embryos out of, you can aspirate her a lot. And that cost is a lot smaller than a few failed embryo transfers.
Gotcha. Is a flush and aspiration, are those two different things? Like when you say we're flushing a mare, totally different?
Yep. Yeah, so when you're flushing a mare, you're breeding her, or you're waiting until 7 days, and then you're actually filling the mare's uterus and flushing that embryo out, catching it in a dish, and then you're transferring it.
Okay.
That mare has ovulated herself and bred through AI.
Gotcha.
Whereas aspiration, you're going in and you actually you use a probe that has a needle, and you're taking them out of the ovaries, the oocytes.
Gotcha. So it's sooner. I totally get it. I was mixing the two up. I was thinking it was the same thing. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Very, very. So I want to talk about you a little bit, and we'll get back in the industry here in a second. Tanner, how did you get involved in this? What's your background in all of this?
So I worked and was the breeding farm manager for a breeding farm in Colorado for about 8 years. I've actually, on the aspiration side, I started at CSU in my undergrad, working at the CSU Repro Center there. Worked with a lot of great veterinarians, and then GeneTech was one of my clients that a lot of our clients would send their oocytes to when I was at the breeding farm manager. From there, when I started my own company and went on my own, kind of dove a little bit into the marketing side. Had a really great friend who gave me an excellent opportunity to help consult and take what I've known from the breeding side, working with GeneTech and helping get that out to people, and made that connection to GeneTech there. So I've been representing them and working with them for the last couple of years. Awesome.
What was your goal originally to go in and be a full-on vet, or what is that whole backstory there? I mean, CSU is awesome for sure. You know, how did that all work out?
So I made it to high school finals my junior year, and went to the college fair, and CSU just had a banner up, and I was like, that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And then within about the first week of my undergraduate, I realized that I was not going to, the chemistry and I had no chemistry, was not going to make it down the line to be a vet. But I had a really great professor who talked a lot about reproduction in that first week. And he said, being a vet is great. You get to do a lot of things, but there's highs and there's lows. But when you're in the breeding side, you're the start of it. And then from there, I kind of just fell in love with equine reproduction, followed along there, started breeding racing quarter horses and team roping mares, and kind of built our family off of that. So.
Very cool, man. Very, very cool. How's the family doing? What all you got going at the homestead right now?
Doing good. I just had my youngest just turned 1, and so we've had quite a few mares and foal out this year, and having the whole family aspect has been really great. Being able to raise our racing babies and our roping babies and our sheep up there in Colorado has been really big change in our life, and it's been a lot of fun. Really blessed to have that lifestyle.
Man, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy. It's so cool that we all get to find these niches in this industry and just play our part. You know what I mean? It's very, very, very cool. Well, I want to ask you one more question as we get in here, jumping back into the business. Where do you see this going from here? I mean, this is, with everything in the industry where it is right now, what are you seeing? What are you guys kind of seeing out on the horizon, working with all these stallion stations? What do you see is going on with our horsepower? Because one thing that we talk a lot about behind the scenes is supply and demand. We feel like there has been, especially on the rope horse side of it, and maybe even in the cow horse side of it, the supply and demand, there's been a whole lot of demand, not a whole lot of supply. Are we getting there? Like, where do you guys think we are? Because what you're doing is allowing us to go find more of these great horses. Instead of just one a year, we can go find more and more of these great horses. What do you guys, when you're sitting around round tabling about the future of this industry, what are you guys seeing?
Yeah, it's the love for the horse. I mean, it goes back decades and decades, and people are wanting to have great athletes, wanting to do go and invest in horses. You're seeing people that have no horse experience that still love going partners on a racehorse or on a stallion or something like that. And I think that's really cool. You have a lot of the backing behind the industry to make things better and grow and be a big, to establish kind of the horsemanship foundation of the
Sure.
industry. I foresee it just growing and growing. You know, people are gonna have these babies coming faster, or being able to generate more babies per year, and you're gonna have higher quality. And with that, as the demand grows for these better horses, hopefully the prices keep increasing. The horse industry grows, but being able to make it possible for them to do it through these technologies.
Sure.
You know, utilizing your breeding facility on the ICSI side, aid is great because you get to really invest in those babies, and also you have a backing. A lot of people are aspirating mares, freezing those embryos, and saving those for kind of the next year, or what if that mare dies? You know,
Sure.
that kind of stuff happens all the time. So just having these services available is really driving the industry.
Very cool. Very cool. So now the question is, let's say somebody like myself, not really in the horse business, you know, we're not in the horse business, we're in the business of just buying horses, but we want to kind of get into it. What would you say, walk me through what I want to do. All right, I want to go ahead and start raising some babies for the NRCHA and get them with a trainer, or I want to get my horse, get something together and get a riata and start going down that road. What is my first steps? What do I go do? Help me get started. I want to start having some babies.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like first thing is finding the right mare, right? Mares are a gold mine when it comes to the industry. They are heart and soul. Mare power, I stand behind that so much. The mare created the great stallion that's out there. And be able to invest in something that's going to do that and produce for you. You know, I don't think it has to be the perfectly bred mare too. I think it's a mare that's going to produce oos, and looking at what she had, the potential that she has, and how she's going to cross. And then also looking at these programs like the cow horse incentives that they give back. Supporting those programs that give back to those breeders is huge. And having programs like that make the industry go around. So it's by supporting, you know, breeding to those mares, or breeding to those stallions. I always say, I went partners on a horse last year with a good friend. She's in the cow horse and she wanted a good baby. I said, well, I'm good with every cow horse stud, but I really want it to be one that's in the Regatta, because I have worked on that mare. The 3-year-olds are headed down and going places, but I've always supported the Regatta buckle. I wanted to do that. So we have a really great Hiptown colt on the ground because of that.
Yeah.
And so I think formulating your goals, and then, you know, at the end of the day, when things don't make a profit, that's when you got to change your plans.
Sure.
But good mentor said, just stay out of the red and you'll be fine.
Right.
But it's hard to do. But keeping that in the goal, finding the right mare, breeding the right stallion, and supporting the program that is going to give back to the breeders is a huge thing.
That brings up a great point. If you're going to go ahead and do it, if you're going to get in, look at the incentive programs ahead of time, because first of all, you never know. And second of all, why would you not want to have the greatest opportunity to get a check in the mail, right? That's an opportunity there when they go, especially on these breeders, these horses, when you can go nominate them and it gets paying back to the breeders along with the stallions, those incentives, you know, whether it's a little or a lot, it's a check that you have an opportunity to get, right?
Exactly. And because it's expensive. It's expensive being a mare owner. It's expensive being a stallion owner. And you have to be a part of that, because those are the programs that are driving it. You know, I feel like those incentives, there's a lot of them, but they all are great in their own way. And I think finding what collaborates with your breeding program the best, you can go a long ways in the industry. Absolutely.
Yeah. Kind of set them up for that. So don't just do it for the money. We all know that never works, but find that passion that you're in and let that kind of drive it, but then be smart about it as well. Find those mares, find those stallions that are part of these incentives, and go do it that way. That's great advice, and I really, really appreciate that.
Awesome.
Well, cool, Tanner. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for helping drive this industry. You know, just talking about this, it's a great time to have you here and a great time to talk about it. We were flipping back through here. I think Cush and I were doing some numbers. So the Cinch Stallion Stakes, you know, the money that was brought up, $1.6 million is what that purse has come up to. $1.3 million in the limited aged event this year, just in the Open Derby alone out there. The guys are going to be running for a check of $125,000, up $10,000 from last year, and all of that money is driven by these incentive programs. So for those of you out there that are kind of looking and wondering about, well, what do I need to do? How do I get into it? You need to get a hold of a guy like this. You need to get a hold of these different barns that are doing it and ask about these incentive programs. Find these good mares. Find, if you that's the great thing about it. Let's say I don't have the greatest mare in the world, but I have a great recip mare. You can do all of that stuff. You don't have to be standing these great mares, and they will help you. That's one thing that I have learned is guys like yourselves, the others that we talked about off camera, if you give them a call, they will help you get in this business and help you put your band together. And I think that's so important for people that may not know how to go about it but really want to get in. So Tanner, thanks so much for being a big part of it. I really appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me today.
Thanks, Drew. I appreciate it. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too, pal. Well, everybody, remember, we're going to be continuing our coverage from out there at the Cinch Stallion Stakes. We're just one day away from the finals. I think the guys were doing the cutting here today, the herd work today, and then they're going to be come back and they're going to do their rein work and down the fence tomorrow at the finals. Amy Wilson, she's going to be taking it over this afternoon and bringing all the coverage right there from the South Point Hotel and Casino. So, friends, on behalf of Ranch, Fuel, and, of course, Holiday Auto Group, I am Drew Stew. This is EQN Sports, and we will catch you in a little bit, everybody.